Monica.
And I'm Paola, and today we have a very special guest, Councilwoman Jacquin Headen.
Thank you so much for coming in and on a rainy day, but a very good day nonetheless.
My pleasure. My pleasure. You guys are making such a name for yourselves in the creative community here, and I'm passionate about the creative community. Growing it here in Grand Prairie, as well as being an artist myself.
Yeah.
So I've got my councilwoman hat here in Grand Prairie, as well as my creative, and we need someone to advocate for the arts here in the city. So I'm glad to be that woman.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much for doing that, especially because we're a part of Create Texas. Big shout out to Mark Jokel, who is the one that created that here. And just having you on board, it means a lot because you do know about the arts and you are passionate about the arts, and so are we. And a lot of people, they don't know what's going on in the city. We're a music city at that too, a registered music city. And, you know, just having you here and having you be as passionate as you are with the arts, thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned we are an official music city of America, which is huge.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't even know we have anything going on here. So we need to bring awareness. This podcast is just perfect for that. Letting people know this is a creative space to be in. Even if you're not a creative yourself, you want to just come hear music, you want to see arts, we need to let people know that we are here. But it hasn't always been that way. You know, Grand Prairie used to be all prairie land.
Literally.
So I understand why we have to do a bit of a heavy lift to let people know things are changing here. This podcast space is amazing.
It is.
Allowing people to come in and tell their stories here at our city-run facility, guys.
That's
and
right.
It's just such a great bargain. So we are trying as a city to see what can we do that's going to attract creatives to the space. Co-working, art studio space, podcasting space, the music recording room, which I haven't done anything in because I don't have any musical skills, but I hear that it's state of the art as well. So, you know, the city is trying to be supportive of you guys in any way possible. But I think one of the issues on the political side sometimes can be understanding the importance of arts for economic development. Why does arts and culture matter for growing a city?
Yeah.
And really, Dallas spends a ton of money on arts and culture, and people will buy tickets or buy flights to go experience concerts, gallery openings, art festivals, things like that. So it brings money to your city, but sometimes people think it's a fluff topic and they don't realize that arts and culture can be the heart of your city, heart of tourism. So in rebranding, let's just say Grand Prairie is rebranding. We want to try to emphasize arts and culture. So, you know, that's music, that's visual arts. And I actually heard someone saying they want to see more dance here.
Yeah.
As far as like classical ballet, contemporary. So
that would be awesome.
Yeah. And that's the third leg, if you will, of the creative space. We'll right into fine arts. And I know you guys went to fine arts high school, fine arts academy. So you guys know that there are a lot of facets to
and
it.
Not only economic, but also child development. Your brain gets so impacted by the fine arts, and the fact that you guys are supporting that not only is going to elevate your economic side of things, but also your kids and your future is really going to benefit from it. And so we're just excited that we're also a part of this journey for Grand Prairie.
Yeah. And, you know, funny you say that. I was just talking to someone about how arts education is scientifically shown, studies are showing that it helps improve outcomes with academics later, with careers, because I guess it stimulates a part of the brain early when you get that arts education. So you're right. It's not just the economic impact, but it's really important for our young people as well. Yeah. And one of the things I'm doing is talking to young people about creative career paths.
Yes.
And, you know, growing up, I didn't know any professional creative. Now, mind you, I'm in the visual art space. So that was kind of more so what I was looking towards, but I didn't know any professional artists really in any capacity. Now we've got graphic design, you've got just traditional art, animation, gaming development, all of these things that you could work in the visual arts field. But I didn't know anyone doing that growing up, but I knew that I was creatively gifted. I love painting, grew up doing oil painting.
Yeah.
But I just felt like that's not a career. I need to figure something else out and let that, whatever the creative thing, that has to be the hobby.
That'll be the hobby. Yeah.
That'll be the hobby.
Because that's what we get told as we're growing up. Thankfully, like, our families were very supportive, but there's a couple people out there that didn't have that support system, that they were just like, it's a hobby. It's not necessarily going to make you any kind of income. But I mean, you definitely know what that looks like, especially having multiple hats.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how was it for you guys getting, and I met your dad. I know he's incredibly supportive, but
Yes.
It sounds like there were other folks. Did that at any point give you pause where you thought maybe they're right? Maybe I just need to drop this?
Honestly, no. I've always had a passion for teaching. And I always say that my plan A was to teach, and my plan A was also to perform, because I believe that when there's a will, there's a way. And if you are passionate about whatever it is, whether it's teaching, whether it's politics, whether it's visual arts or singing or whatever it is, if you pour your heart into it, you can have it all. And so I've always just had that mentality of like, you know what, if I'm going to be teaching, I still want to perform and do this. And I was lucky enough to be able to juggle teaching full-time and performing and having a full-time job as a performer as well. And so honestly, if anything, it just gave me more inspiration, more motivation. Even the naysayers, I was like, well, I'm gonna prove you wrong, but there really wasn't a lot of people who were naysayers. Even whenever I told my professor, who was like, already had jobs lined up for me. And he was like, you know what? I respect it. Just be sure to be safe, because the music industry can be a little, crazy. And you are going to have like tough skin and a good head on your shoulders, but you can do it all. You can have that. You can be a teacher when you come back. And so, yeah, I honestly don't think I had anybody who gave me a sense of like, oh, wait, let me not pursue this job, or let me not pursue my passion in performing. If anything, it was like, okay, I can have it all. I can do it all. And it's been a challenge, but super rewarding. So
yeah, just to kind of piggyback you, I think it helps to have that support system, because I think if I wouldn't have had like my dad's support or my family, because it's a family business with us. My dad is my manager, and he's the one that books the gigs. My mom does the bookkeeping and the merchandise, and my brother does the social media content. So we all band together just to create this career path for me. I've always been passionate about music. I mean, that's something that's never going to go away. If I decide one minute I'm not going to sing anymore, which I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But, there have been people in my life, family members, extended family members, or, friendships that they were just like, but you have to think about the future of like your family and your marriage and your kids. And I'm sure we get that a lot as women, and I know a lot of people can connect to that path, but it comes when it's supposed to, and sometimes it comes unexpectedly, but that doesn't mean that I have to derive myself of what I really can do with my music, what I can do with my gift, because it's a gift,
Yeah. So I kind of want to circle back, because you do wear a lot of hats. So you're a councilwoman, you're also an artist. And I wanted you to describe your job as a councilwoman for anybody who doesn't know exactly what that looks like. And also I want to know how you got into politics and getting into working with the city.
Well, that's a good question. And sometimes I'm surprised. Some people tell me, what is it that a council person does? And it's important to know, because really your city government controls a lot of your day-to-day life. I don't say controls, but influences, impacts,
Definitely impacts
as far as things that are coming to your city, opportunities that you'll have locally. So you want to at least have an awareness, but your city council works with your mayor to pass laws and policies in the city, also to help bring new developments to the city. A lot of times people want new, fine dining restaurants. And I tell people, city council, we can work on it, but it's still in partnership with third-party businesses. You can't force a company to want to come here, but what we can do is try to persuade them by sharing statistical data, like what is our population? If they want to know things like what's the mean salary, different things like that. What type of things do people here shop for? And there's a lot of types of data points that people want to know. And your city staff or economic development department works with us to help try to persuade people to come here. But that's a full-time job. And given what used to be all prairie, people didn't necessarily think that this was the place to come. So me personally, different council members have different passion points, but I'm actually on our city's economic development committee, and I'm also on the National League of Cities Federal Advisory Board for Economic Development. So I've got federal all the way down to the local perspective on that. And that covers small businesses because we're a part of our local economy, our entrepreneurs, as well as your mega businesses. It's really great when you can get a huge corporation to come and relocate to your city.
Yes.
Because they bring jobs, people spend money with them, which brings tax dollars to our city, which can then support arts, youth programming, all these different things. It's all one big cycle. So your city council person is working on that. And while they may have different focus points, some people are into environmental issues, transportation issues. As far as the policy making, we do that together. But my specialty is economic development, which is interesting as a creative because I think there's a lot of synergy there. As I've stated, creative resources or creative attractions, that's what you should call it, really draw people to your city. So I'm actively working on trying to bring opportunities to our city that citizens will enjoy, but that will also bring in money from people who don't live here. We want people from Dallas to come to Grand Prairie and check out a show, people from Plano. So the mayor may have said this already, but we're working to be the top 5 destination for family fun in the Metroplex.
Amen. So you guys are getting there.
I don't know what number we are on the list. I don't know that there is an official list, but when the list comes out, we're looking to be top 5. So city council, day to day, I think, depending on your passion area, will be very different. But when it comes to laws, policies, what's going on with your tax dollars, that's your city council.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. And so my question is on the art side, how would you describe your art? We're obviously going to post most of your art too, if we possibly can, on our social media, but also some pictures in the video as well. But how would you describe your art? What is your passion for it? What's your next project?
So my art is abstract. I'm an abstract artist. So those are the type of works where what I love about it is that everyone has their own interpretation of what they see. I've had a time, they said, I know what you did here. That is a whale. And the whale is swimming to the light. And that is really interesting. So I wasn't thinking about a whale. But the nice thing is that people can bring their own interpretation to it, which I love. But one thing that is a constant through my art, it's very joyful, very optimistic. Artwork can affect the energy of a space, just like music. If you're listening to some really harsh sounding music, do you feel uplifted per se, or are you feeling like angst?
Right. Yeah. And you're going to transmit that feeling from that music.
Right. The feeling is coming from the music, and same with art. The feeling is coming off of the canvas. So for me, I want to add a little joy to the world. I would say the artwork is certainly energetic. It can be soothing, but it's more energizing. And I want people to be able to put the artwork in their homes and say, wow, when I go by this, I smile. When I go by this, I feel peaceful.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't have a dark artwork style. It's not coming from a place of angst. You really, me personally, want to use my gifts to try to improve the world in any way that I can. And that's another thing artists need to remember. It may seem like such a small little universe. Like, I'm just creating these songs, I'm just making these paintings, but you don't know where it will travel to, what homes it will be in, and what far corner of the world that this is encouraging someone. So I do take it seriously, making my joyful artwork, because I do know that energy is going to come through when people put that in their homes. So I'm sure you'll see it when you look at the pictures. Joy, optimism, happiness, encouragement, hope.
Yes, and I think that we need a lot of that right now.
Especially right now.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you do have an interior design business as well, correct?
So I did interior design, interior decorating for 10 years, and I've wound it down, even though I still get requests. And if someone asks me really nicely and just in just the right way, I might take on a project. But really, city council kind of slowed that down. But I love design, and in fact, interior design was what led me back to art. So let me just tell you the full circle story.
Give me that journey. We love to hear the journey story.
Well, I stated that I always was painting growing up, but I was kind of told that's not really a job and you should go to law school. So I really internalized that. I always felt like an artist, but I never really expected to really do anything with it.
Yeah.
But that's just, it's a hobby. That's something that's in me, but it's not a career. So I went to law school, and basically I didn't do any artwork for like 15 years.
Oh, wow.
I just put that down. See, the thing is, when people have a gift and they decide it's not going to be the main thing, and they figure it can be a hobby, well, when do you really have time for that?
It gets put in the back burner. You're like, oh, when I have time, that'll bring me joy. It'll be fine. And then you never get to it.
Yeah, every now and then people are committed to going and doing something after work. But a lot of times, just life is lifing, and you really don't circle back around to it. So I ended up getting into design blogs and reading the content out there back when all the blogs were becoming a big thing.
Right.
And I said, wow, I love design. I said, I feel like I really have an eye for this, an eye for aesthetics, which probably comes from the art background I have, and really dove deep into educating myself on this in the evenings, just like vegging out on blogs and really learning a lot about the design industry, like from my sofa. And I ended up getting married, and my husband's from here. He went to Grand Prairie Elementary and Irving for high school. And that's how he got me back here. But I had a legal job in the Northeast. And when I moved here, I said, I think I'm going to really try this. But I hadn't been painting. So I said, I just want to try decorating. So I had a couple relative clients, usually entrepreneurs. They're asking friends and family to, give me a chance to work on your space, write me a review. I now know, I always tell people, friends and family actually might not be the place to really start, because they don't really necessarily, especially if you're very talented, they don't always appreciate. They feel like they're doing you a favor for you to do a service for them. Anyways, that's a side point on entrepreneurship. But in any case, that is how I started and built my confidence, and ended up starting to get a lot of clientele. I started my own blog. I ended up, there was something called the Amara Blog Awards, which is a home furnishing company in the London area, and they were doing annual awards. And I was one of their top 5 in the United States in 2018, which was pretty exciting and encouraging, because I was told that I can't do anything creative. Let me just say, it wasn't always direct, but it was a subtext looking down on these type of professions. But in any way, I went out to London and was a finalist for these awards.
Wow.
And actually, the following year, things were going well with the design business. And I went and bought some paints, some acrylic paints. And I said, you know what? I'm going to just try to get back into it because I'm helping source artwork for clients. And that kind of got me thinking back about why am I not making artwork?
Amen.
And the first piece I did was trash. It was such trash.
Oh, no.
I was really discouraged. I told my husband, I said, I used to make the most beautiful paintings growing up, like high school, and like, look at this trash. I say, I guess I missed my window. You know, I'm too rusty. And after that, I waited a whole year. I was like really discouraged. I waited a whole year, kept taking design clients. But a year later, I decided to try again. I think someone had like a free, on Instagram, like a free workshop for 1 week where they get some painting skills. So I did a little workshop and was really happy with the pieces I was creating. And from then on, I've just been painting full time. But I think it was the design industry that got me back into the creative space, doing the decorating, sourcing artwork, sourcing furnishings. And that kind of reignited my spark to start painting again. But it was really roundabout. It wasn't a straight line at all.
Yeah, as art usually tends to be, not a straight line at all.
Somebody had mentioned to me at one point in time that art does not have an expiration date. You can start or stop at any point of your life. And I think it's very humane to think like that because as humans, we never stop learning. We never stop growing, even if we're like...
And we never stop loving and expressing ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's what I love about, you know, art in general or people that are artists or musicians is that we are emotional people and we throw all of our emotions, whatever type of emotion you want to throw, you put it in the art that you're creating, whether that be visual, dance, theatrical, or music. And so I forget who told me, but I know that when we had Adrian Solis, he says that musicians and artists alike are very emotional people.
And so kind of brings me to a question. How do you juggle being an artist and being in that political space? Do you put some of that like emotion aside, or do you use it to propel your passion in the arts and advocating for the arts? How do you navigate those two aspects of yourself in that space?
I would say it often can feel separate. Not all the work we do at City Council is really going to lend itself to be like, what about the arts? You know, but when those moments come up, I am going to be that person who brings up the connection point and say, well, how can we make a creative, how can we add a creative addition to it? One, you know, example I give with bigger developments, maybe not a small business, but when we get big businesses who come and want to build here, they want incentives and things like that. You know, why don't we start requiring public art when they build these spaces? That can be a mural, that can be hopefully a sculpture or something bigger.
Yeah.
It's easy to fall into the just a mural category. And there are a lot of other physical forms of art that you could do. There's a whole industry with like lighting art and people who study, you can get a master's in lighting related artwork. Right. But there are things that you can do in the inside of your building as well as on the exterior that bring an artistic presence. So maybe we require developers to do that on certain projects where they want incentives. So that's where I look for the opportunities where I can infuse it, but it's not a hyper focus. You know, you have to do what makes sense for the job. Yeah. But there are moments where could have been a missed opportunity if I wasn't that gal, you know, and someone has to advocate for the arts. And I think that in 5 years' time here in Grand Prairie, it'll be 2030, I think things will have really gained some momentum that we'll be able to see some of the fruits of this podcast and the things I'm doing to try to bolster creativity here. It's not overnight, right? But we're doing the work that I think if we were to reassess in 5 years, I think we'd say we really accomplished something.
Oh, yeah.
With helping people to identify this community with being a place of creativity.
Yeah, no, and I think, like I said, you guys are on the road to that, and I feel it. I'm from Dallas, and I feel the creative energy here.
I've been telling her about Grand Prairie for years.
A long time, yeah.
Because we went to school together, and we are alumni of the arts, which is kind of funny, and it brings up a thing. So if I would have known, if there was an art school in Grand Prairie at the time that I was going to Booker T. You got to remember 20 miles to the city and then 20 back every day. And my dad,
that's a commitment.
Dad was committed to that. My mom also had a lot of commitment with that as well. And so it would have been nice at the age that I was to have had an art school, an art program. But now it's so beautiful to see that there are art schools in Grand Prairie in different districts, but multiple art schools. And I would have loved it. But, everything is in due time. And
so Dallas has been like, they're the big sister who is showing us the way. But Dallas has stats have shown that they spend some of the most on arts programming financially dollars than any city in America.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if there's any city to look towards, like, what are they doing with the creative space? Certainly it's Dallas. So we're not Dallas, but I get it. The model works. I'm from Chicago originally, another really creative space.
Yeah.
And I think there's good foundation to look to cities who have prioritized arts funding, arts programming, to say this actually will make a prosperous city.
And you're not reinventing the wheel either and like breaking your head trying to figure out what's going to bring people here. Like you already kind of have a model of what to do and state-of-the-art buildings and equipment. So yeah, like I said, I really am looking forward to seeing the growth and where Grand Prairie goes. Yeah, really exciting stuff. Do you have anything that you want to tell our listeners? Any new things happening in Grand Prairie to be looking forward to, or anything that you're doing that might interest our listeners?
Yeah, so that was a lot of questions.
Sorry, I know it's a lot.
So as far as things going on in Grand Prairie, we have, I'm not sure when this will air, but we have the Epic Vibes Festival coming up here. It is Saturday, February 21st, indoors. So even though it may be gloomy outside, it's at our Epic Rec Center, and there'll be vendors, artists, 3 stages of music, totally free for the public. So we want people to come out and experience that. I'm also working on artwork commissions, which is exciting. I just finished a commission for a counseling clinic. And if there's any place where you need a joyful, optimistic, something in your lobby, I would say it's a place for counseling.
Yep.
But continuing to work to make community partnerships with my art, because, the more we can get my art in the world, the more joy there will be, right? Isn't that how every artist feels?
Exactly.
If people would just take notice, but we have to all do our part. So I'm doing my part, I would say, on the city realm, city side, as well as the personal side. Anything else to mention? Well, I'm up for re-election.
Oh, yay!
So it's been 3 years. I was Grand Prairie's first African-American woman they ever elected. And ended up making the news at that time. And it's funny, one of the things they were asking me about on ABC News, it was NBC News, was this creative side of me. It's funny, at the time, I didn't run on anything. My platform was not vote for me because I'm creative. That was not a part of the selling point. And I intentionally decided, I think I'll de-emphasize that, because there are other things and strengths that I also bring to the table, like with economic development and law school and negotiation. So I de-emphasize that. And then the NBC News comes for the interview, and they're like, tell us about your artwork and interior design. And I said, I didn't even mention any of this during the campaign process, but they were just so curious because they don't know or hadn't seen other people in the elected official space who had that background. So that ended up being kind of one of the narratives they shared. But that's coming up on 3 years ago.
Wow.
And we do have 3-year terms here. So circling back around to highlight some of the accomplishments and show people why we need another term.
Yes, absolutely. And so 3 years ago, did you imagine yourself being where you are now?
Because it was new, I did serve on boards and commissions and had some exposure to that, but it's not the same thing. So, you really need 3 years. Fort Worth has 2-year terms. That sounds very stressful because
you're trying to get so much.
Yeah, you already have to practically start campaigning again shortly thereafter. But it does take, I would say, you need a good first term to set the groundwork for future work you want to do in the city. So it's nice when you can have continuity within your council. It's good to get fresh voices in there, but if you're spending 3 years figuring out, okay, what is going to be the area where I'm making my mark? I ended up doing quite a lot with economic development, and then it's over. Yeah, no, I'm just getting going.
Exactly.
Right. So, right. I don't know what the expectations were, because it's like anything. Someone can try to describe something to you, but it's not until
you're in there.
Yeah, you do it that you really know, okay, this has been great, or if you're enjoying it or not. So it's hard to capture what the expectations were as far as the experience, but I would call it a success. Definitely hit some awesome milestones, and looking forward to another round.
Yeah, looking forward to another round of you being councilwoman. What district do you preside over?
I represent District 2, which is right where we are here with Epic Waters, our nationally acclaimed water park and this rec center. So it's really the heart of a lot of our entertainment here, which is really, I think, creates a lot of synergy with what I'm trying to do with arts and culture here.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're the perfect woman for it. So we're excited for you.
I got one more question for you. So, and I think I kind of prepped you for this one, but what would your advice be to somebody that's looking up to you in every capacity of the way? Councilwoman, artist, all of it. What would be some advice that you would give somebody looking up to you in your position now?
I would say to find something to specialize in. Even within a job, let's say you have a job and you're hired for a particular job, even within any particular narrow field, you can become a specialist in something where people will go to you when it's this particular topic. So to be generally good at a lot of things, there are a lot of people like that. But to find a niche is really special. And I know you guys have done that with music. So that is one thing I would say is really important. So whether it's a particular, very specific art form that no one else is doing, that's a niche. In the professional setting on city council, my niche is economic development. So it really hones in on making you that go-to person for something in particular. And you can start thinking about that young by assessing what are you good at. And let's say you like to draw. Okay, that's good. Now we work on developing what is my niche within that's going to make me stand out, because with so much competition for jobs, for opportunities, booked and blessed is what we want to be, that it's best to be a little more narrow so that when the topic comes up, they'll always think of you. Whereas when you're more general, it's easy to kind of get lost in a field of a bunch of other people doing something similar. So find a specialty.
Yeah. No, for sure. I love that.
Yeah. I think that was great advice, and it was a great conversation. Thank you for coming and spending some time with us here at the new space. We got some new gear out.
Very
just so you know, we didn't move, guys.
We're still here at the Epic.
We're still here at the Epic. Definitely check out the Recreation Center. Definitely check out Vibe Fest that's happening Saturday, February 22nd. Thank you.
22nd, excuse me.
No, it's okay. But thank you so much for being with us, and we hope you come back for sure.
Yeah, we're looking forward for another 3 years, girl.
Thank you. I appreciate the support.
Of course.
Nice chatting with you, ladies.
Thank you. Bye.